One of the most popular shows on the ALT Balaji platform is the Broken and Beautiful series. During this time, while we have been inundated with crime and political thrillers, season 3 of the very popular series comes as a breath of fresh air. There is this common notion that romance is dead when it comes to films, or even series. But my opinion is that compelling and engaging romantic stories are not being told. I wanted to take a deep dive and understand the reason for the popularity of this series, and I had clarity after watching season 1. I think the amazing performances and chemistry of Vikrant, Massey and Harleen Sethi playing Veer and Sameera was its biggest selling point. Second, of course, being its beautiful soundtrack. While I think that season 2 almost went into unnecessary and wayward directions with too many subplots lacking any kind of emotional depth, it was season 1 that really made me understand why there is such a huge fan base for this series. Season 3 presents a new love story between Agastya and Rumi, played by Sidharth Shukla and Sonia Rathee respectively. The themes followed include how everyone comes with their own baggage into relationships and how it translates into actions that may be destructive as well, in the process of coping with one's own demons, causing harm to oneself and others. The powerful force of love and how it manifests in different ways. In season 3, a strong-headed playwright meets a privileged but opinionated woman. A casual physical relationship leads to a professional collaboration in theatre, but the inevitable creeps in, of one having feelings for another, only to open a can of worms of ulterior motives and a lot of broken hearts. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the series so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Broken but Beautiful Season 3 on ALT Balaji or not. The underwhelming aspects. Dependence on narration. One of my biggest issues with the series is that there is a huge reliance by the creators on the narration that is mostly voiced by Sidharth and Sonia. Through the 10 episodes of the series, a lot of sequences have minimal dialogues, but a narration explaining the situation or a montage with the series' beautiful soundtrack. There are many times that the narration becomes an overkill to the situation, as the performances of the cast and the dialogues between them are enough to impact the audience. But the creators feel this necessary need to over-explain the journey of Agastya and Rumi. I would have loved if the creators either would have written more dialogues between the two main characters to establish a stronger bond with the audience, or just cut down on the narrations that often dampened the overall impact of the series. Is this a race? This may be a good or a bad thing and is debatable for many. The series, especially in the first 3 or 4 episodes, is extremely fast-paced, almost to the point of not letting you breathe, and at the same time demanding your attention and empathy for its characters. While a lot of people may connect with this structure as it doesn't waste too much time in setting up the world around the main characters, I feel it is a disservice in a way as love stories and the affection for characters takes time to develop. The series in its later half provides many sequences of emotional depth that really tug at your heartstrings, but I would have loved if some more time would have been spent for us to have a clearer picture of who Agastya and Rumi are, rather than quick, fast-paced montages that just provide us an idea of them. While I do connect with Sidharth, the actor, I wondered while watching the series, who is Agastya? Why does he have such angst? What was his upbringing like? What was his family dynamic? I had all these questions. Am I alone over here? Clichés and tropes. This is a mixed bag as well, as it will irritate some, but the performances making the same thing convincing may win you over. As they say, clichés exist for a reason. So it ticks the boxes that you have seen in several stories that are based on relationships in the city. You've got the theatre playwright who is chain-smoking his way, wearing his ripped jeans and chappals, while the privileged girl in her gated community, having nothing to be proud of, judges everyone in her sight. Whenever someone is sad, they aimlessly walk on the streets drunk with a bottle in their hand. Sexual partners appear like express delivery. Heartbreak leads to the soul searching that replicate montages you may have seen in Dear Comrade or even Rockstar. And the characters complain and create a scene at the slightest inconvenience. What I did find quite annoying in the series is the use of buzzwords to sound rather cool. Agastya being called wannabe pseudo constantly, while Rumi asking her friend if she has 100 rupees going, "Babe, you got a hana?" I understand the demographic that these dialogues tick, but they become excessive and come across as pretentious sometimes. The good. Music. You can say anything about this series. You may love it, you may be neutral about it, or you may not connect with it at all. But one thing that you cannot deny is that the music of this series is absolutely beautiful. From season 1 and 2 of the series, one of the strongest qualities about it has been its music. The title track of Ye Kya Hua, sung by Shreya Ghoshal and Dev Negi, and Papon's Laute Nahi still has my heart. While my favorite of season 2 was Vishal Mishra's Teri Ho Gaiyan, season 3 has also elevated its game in the music department. All three of its songs are absolute soulful bangers. From Mere Liye and Tere Naal sung by Akhil Sachdev to Armaan Malik and Palak's Kya Kiya Hai Tune, you will definitely be extremely drawn to search the music of this series. It encapsulates the theme of the show brilliantly. The supporting cast. Before I get to the main cast of the series, I have to speak about the work of the supporting cast that I thoroughly enjoyed. Ihan Bhatt, who you may have seen in A.R. Rahman's 99 songs, plays the quintessential douchebag and player in this series. Ishan is basically that guy that fools around with everyone, no one faults him because he's the good-looking guy, but you only in retrospect realize what a toxic source of energy he was. Ihan is a brilliant actor and I feel he has an extremely bright future ahead. It's sad that he has handed over a character that is extremely one-tone, but his command and confidence in front of camera will definitely take him a long way ahead. The only voice of reason and who probably have the funniest moments from the series are Manveer Singh and Tanya Kalra, who play Rishabh and Farah respectively. Agastya's colleagues trying to bring some sense in his head and being true ride or dies makes you wish for a friendship so pure. While there was a scope to really explore their individual journeys, especially Farah's, even in their limited screen time they really did impress me. Manveer Singh though stands out with his perpetual interest in women and comic timing. He does take the cake of being the comedic relief in the series. Both leads and their chemistry. This is Sonia Rathee's debut performance and I have to admit that she puts forth a commendable performance. It is quite daunting to be a part of a series that already has a huge fan base, be cast opposite an already big star, and still leave a lasting impact. Sonia, especially in her moments of being cheeky or sharing banter with Agastya and her friends, shines. While in the emotional moments you can fault her for having the same grimace on her face, almost of a repetitive nature, she holds her ground as a performer in the series. Sidharth Shukla is an actor who has had a journey with many ups and downs, who on paper had an absolutely brilliant debut with Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania. He put forth a sincere and commanding performance with actors who are considered to be stars. Yet either due to the quality of the work being offered to him, Shukla stuck to the Indian television and reality TV show format for subsistence and growth. I have to say that Sidharth is extremely convincing as Agastya. I would go further on to say probably the best part of the series. While I would have loved from a writing point of view to really explore who Agastya is from what is given to us, Sidharth showcases a range I really didn't expect. From being an egotistical and full of rage artist to an individual with a calm demeanor who is sure of his work, he really is the selling point of this series. What I can fault him on is that he sometimes mumbles through his lines, which makes it tough to decipher on what is exactly being said. But there are moments, especially in the sequences where Agastya is vulnerable, that Shukla steals the show. These two moments were probably where I was convinced that this man needs to work more, especially in films because he does deliver with his acting chops. Connection and comparison. Beyond the social media following of Sidharth Shukla that really leads to excessive traffic on a series like this, I think the reason why people connect with this is because it is reflective of a time in everyone's life where we were emotionally driven, where we were still in the process of figuring out ourselves, we thought there was no point of return in the mess we were in, our denial of falling in love and the sinking feeling of taking the bait. It is all reflective of that time. If you ask me honestly, I still think season 1 of this series, which really explored individuals coping with loss or the memory of someone while dealing with their reality today, is the best of their seasons. Season 3, however, doesn't provide anything revolutionary from a romantic point of view. Something that many people are not acknowledging is that it is actually very realistic with the way it finally shapes up, the latter half of the series probably being its best episodes. While the series and its story is very basic and something that you have already seen, it's definitely true that the biggest selling points are its beautiful music and convincing performances. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about this series. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.